When you're applying online for a job, have you ever noticed that almost every employer gives you the option to submit a cover letter? Although usually not a requirement on the front end of a job posting, a cover letter is one of the best ways to set yourself apart from the rest of the applicants applying for the same job you are. But what is a cover letter exactly? And why does it make such a difference in your application process and the likelihood of you getting invited for an interview? Hello and welcome to the Work for Warriors Nevada Virtual Training Library. My name is Ismail, and today we're going to be talking about cover letters. Let's start with what a cover letter is. A cover letter is a document that you would send with your resume to provide additional information on your skills and experience. This is not a part of your resume, rather it's in addition to it. With the same limitations that resumes have, this may be the make or break piece for some applicants in order to show the employer all your skill sets. It's a short 200 to 250 word letter with a specific structure and layout of business correspondence. We'll go over that structure shortly. This is also an incredibly important piece of your application. It shows your potential employer how your resume is connected to their position. So you may not have ever held the same position in your job experience, but you've had plenty of applicable experience in your work or military history. This is your opportunity to connect the dots for the employer. With a cover letter, the first thing you should do is introduce yourself and address the cover letter to the recruiter, hiring manager, or human resources personnel that will be reviewing all the resumes. Make sure you know exactly who is conducting the hiring process so you can address them in the cover letter. This is either included in the job posting, or you may have to call the company to find out the name and title of the person recruiting for the open position. It's also important to keep in mind that this is an integral part of the application process for the employer. Although it may not be posted as a requirement in the job posting, the hiring manager may filter out people that do not send cover letters with their applications and will disqualify you from that point. Before we deep dive into the structure of a cover letter, here's a few important things to keep in mind. The best cover letters are short, easy to skim, and to the point. You want to keep your cover letters down to one page as much as possible. You should also be structuring your cover letter to be a narrative version of your resume. So instead of star statements going into details of your job duties and accomplishments, you should be painting a picture for the employer explaining why you are the best candidate for the position. If you missed our video explaining the resumes and star statements, be sure you check out our virtual library that can be found on our website workforwarriorsnv.org or on our YouTube and Facebook pages. And lastly, just like your resume, you will need to customize each cover letter for each application. Don't create a generic cover letter that you attach to every single application. Take time to customize the cover letter to meet the needs of the position you're applying for. Now let's dive into formatting. A standard cover letter has 5 sections: the header, the salutation, the body, the closing, and your signature. Let's start with the header. The header of a cover letter should begin with the contact information for both you and the employer. For your information, include your full name, address, phone number, and email address. For the employer, include at a minimum the employer's full name, business address, business phone number, and business email. You may also include the job title of the person recruiting for the position if you have that available. At the end of the header should be the date you have submitted the application. Next, let's talk about the salutation. This is the greeting of your cover letter. You should begin your cover letter salutation with the employer's prefix such as Dr., Mr., Miss, or Mrs., as well as their last name. If you're unsure if your contact is a male or female, write out their full name instead of the prefix. While it is usually best to find a contact for the organization you are applying for, if you are unable to find an employer's name, address your letter like this. Be sure you do your due diligence first to find out the person hiring for the position before you use this in your salutation. Your body is the bulk of your cover letter, which is going to be the narrative summary of your resume. In the body, you'll want to write 1 or 2 paragraphs explaining your interest in the position and why you are the perfect candidate. Ensure that you are mentioning specific qualifications and your success with those qualifications. Don't restate your resume. Ensure you are providing specific examples that demonstrate your abilities, and be sure you showcase your personality and uniqueness. This is an opportunity to differentiate yourself from the other resumes. Show how your unique traits can solve problems and your unique talents other candidates may not have. The body is broken up into two sections: the introduction and career highlights. The introduction is 1 to 2 sentences introducing yourself. Give a brief description of what you are currently doing and why you are interested in this job. Here is an example of a strong introduction. The career highlights section is usually 2 to 3 sentences highlighting your career achievements that are pertinent to the job description. When writing out your career highlights, pick the top 2 assets that would make you the ideal candidate for the position. Here's an example of the career highlights section. Closing out your cover letter. This will immediately follow the body of your cover letter as a part of the body, but it's important to see it as its own section. The closing section consists of 2 parts: company focus and conclusion. The company focus section is usually 1 or 2 sentences on why you want to work for the company. Show them you have done your research. Here is a great example of the company focus section. The conclusion section consists of 1 to 2 sentences expressing your interest in a job interview. Here's one example of how to write out your conclusion. After your conclusion, you can explain how you will follow up, either by email or phone call, and when you will reach out. And be sure to thank them for their time and consideration. The last section of your cover letter is your signature. Use a complimentary close such as "very respectfully" or "with regards." You will also include your handwritten signature, followed by your printed name at the bottom. If you are submitting the form electronically, be sure you print and sign the document first, or use programs like Adobe that allow you to capture your signature and add them to your resume digitally. Now that you know the full body of a cover letter, here's a few things that you should remember not to do with your cover letter. Do not address it to whom it may concern. This shows that you did not do your research. Do not use a generic opening. Add some flair to the opening to wow the employer and show your personality. Do not restate your resume. This is redundant and not the objective of the cover letter. Do not include phrases such as you can see in my resume. Again, this is not the point of the resume. Do not use a cursive font as your signature. Many people may be tempted, but take the extra steps to make sure that the signature you include is your actual signature to differentiate yourself from the crowd. And this has been the video covering cover letters. We hope that this will help with the job application process and help you land your next interview. If there are any other training videos you would like to see from us, be sure you leave it in the comments down below. If this video was helpful, like this video so we know what types of videos have been helpful for you. Don't forget that Work for Warriors Nevada is a community agency with offices in Las Vegas and Reno, ready to serve the military and veteran community, as well as their families. If you need more assistance or have questions, check out our website, workforwarriorsnv.org. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with our latest training videos, and be sure to check out all our social media platforms for the latest updates. Links to all our socials down below. Thank you for watching and happy job hunting.